Thanks for joining us. I'm in conversation with well-known actress Deepika Padukone, who's here at the World Economic Forum India Economic Summit to talk about mental health and how does one cope. Deepika, thank you so much for joining us today on Bloomberg Quint. You've spoken quite candidly about mental health issues, your own personal struggle with depression. My question to you is, what does it take? I mean, as a professional in an industry where perception matters, where you're in the spotlight, personally, how do you cope?
Cope with the cope with having come out with it,
Yes.
or I don't think there was anything to cope with. I think, to be very honest, it's what felt right, and after identifying it, coming out of it, I just felt like it's something I needed to share with the world, and I felt like when I was going through my experience, I just felt like the energy was like it was completely bottled up, and I felt like it just needed to explode, and I felt like it was high time somebody said something, because that's what I felt. I felt like, because I was working through all of this, right? And so there were days when I'd go to work and not feel okay. But we all have professional commitments, and you have to wake up in the morning and you have to go to work, and you don't feel like it, and then you land up and people ask you how you're doing, and I'd feel so it would just feel so wrong to say that I'm feeling okay when I actually was not feeling okay. But then that led me to the next thought, which is what we were discussing earlier, which is, even if I get down to telling them what I'm feeling, will they really understand what I'm feeling? Because I don't think there's enough awareness about depression, anxiety, or any other mental illness. Today, I feel a lot more comfortable and confident talking about it with people, because I feel there is now, in the last couple of years, a lot more increased awareness. But yes, at the time, I just felt like someone needed to say something. I felt like people were silent for too long. I felt like this conversation needed to come to the fore. And in all of that, I felt like, one second, even if nobody gets me, I'm sure there's one person in the world somewhere who'll get or understand what I'm saying. And through this interview, me coming out, if I could save even one life at that point, I felt like I would have, done what I needed to do, or achieve what I wanted to with coming out. But of course, since then a lot has changed, and one of the like we're sitting here and talking about mental health, and I think it's important. I think it was high time. I think it's the right time for India to actually be addressing this in a big and in a very, very serious way, and it is the next big epidemic to hit the world if it isn't already. India is one of the most depressed countries in the world, one of the countries with the highest suicide rate in the world, and we want to change that.
Sure. Let me ask you this again, as working professionals who go through similar challenges. Now that you have spoken about it quite candidly and quite actively, what would you say to them?
Well, for one, I'd say we need to treat it like any other illness. I understand the stigma that's attached to it, but I feel like the same way we talk about diabetes, or the same way we speak about cancer today, or just having a simple headache, I think it needs to be as normal as that. If you ask me, is there stigma attached to it?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has it changed in the last couple of years? It most definitely has. So we're definitely headed in the right direction. So I would say to people, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to speak. Don't hesitate to seek help. And be honest about your feelings. I think I think a huge transformation, at least from my own life and experience, was when I accepted it. The day I accepted it itself, I started feeling much better, Otherwise, you're already bogged down by this. You have no idea what is happening to you. You feel empty, you feel directionless. And then on top of that, you're trying to deny all these feelings. I think we need to be a little more kind and polite to ourselves, accept and understand what is happening to us. And hopefully we're also surrounded by people who are equally understanding and empathetic, who will be with us on this journey, because it's not going to happen overnight. but that decision can happen overnight. The day you decide to get better and the day you decide to seek help in whatever form, I think you're already on the road to recovery.
We're talking on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum, where there's industry talking about economy and business and so on. What do you think industry should be doing, and what do you think employers need to be doing?
I think definitely changing the policies at the workplace. I often come across people who say, we want to speak about it, or we want to come out, or we want to. In fact, we ran a campaign about last year, and we were looking for real life stories. And I can't tell you the number of people who said, can we do this, but we want to be anonymous, because if our boss finds out, we're going to lose our jobs. And that was so sad for us to hear. And that's exactly what we want to change. So I think changing the policies at the workplace, I feel, I think also normalizing it, having a counselor at your workplace, I think that's also extremely important. In fact, the foundation, the Live Love Laugh Foundation, we are starting our corporate program next year, where we will go to corporates and sensitize them on what is on the importance of mental health, what is anxiety, what is depression, stress management. So I mean, but at a policy level, yes, I feel like I think we need to normalize it. I think we need to include people, not exclude. And I think the importance of having a counselor or a psychiatrist at a workplace.
One final question, the foundation that you spoke about, what are your sort of goals that you want the foundation to achieve and spread this message?
I think exactly what the foundation stands for, which is live, love and laugh. So while the underlying theme for us constantly is destigmatizing and creating awareness on anxiety and depression, to create an environment that's a lot more accepting, where people are a lot more at peace, people are a lot happier. I think that's what we as a foundation want to achieve.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You.